sorry, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome in. Welcome here, my patty cake crew. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for viewing from the watchtower. I appreciate it. Please give thumbs up. Welcome in, everybody. How is everybody doing? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Let's see. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you being here, the Bud Files. Happy Monday. Just coming in with a little quick live, not going to hold you guys too long. Thank you all for those who will watch the replay. I appreciate it. And we're just going to take a few seconds to honor those persons who died serving in the armed forces. Just a few seconds. Thank you. Welcome in the OK Lounge with Gwen Michelle. How are you doing? How are you doing? Bud Files, thank you for being here. And for those of you who may come back and watch the replay, I appreciate you so much. We just took a few seconds to think about those persons who died serving the country. Okay, I hope everybody's Monday is going well. It's been a somewhat of a quiet morning. I did some things this morning. I went out into the garden and harvested some more greens, and that video will come out a little later today. And y'all, it is 90 degrees in my corner of the world. Welcome in Tamika Davis. Welcome in Crystal's Place. What is your temperature, Gwen? Generally, our temperature will be about the same. We're 90 down here in central Alabama. Thank you so much, Crystal. Thank you so much. I'm working with these plants, and they're kind of slow taking off this year, but they're coming along. I'm just continuing to work with them. Oh, it's 65 degrees where you are, Tamika, in Michigan. And Kansas, they're 70. It's 78. Ooh, 93 Gwen. Ooh. I'm down here in central Alabama. Or, what is it, Gwen? Am I up here or down here? You know, we had this conversation before. I don't know if I'm up or down from where you are. But anyway, we're at 90 degrees today. And I'm telling you, it's hot. I'm on the patio, and it's a little breeze from the wind, and I have the fan on as well, but it's just blowing hot air. Just hot air. But how's Cammy? Where's Cammy dog? Are you off today, Gwen, for the holiday? But anyway, for those of you that will watch the replay, I thank you so much. Thank you for those who are in the watchtower. Please give a thumbs up if you're watching from the watchtower. I appreciate you as well. So today, I have some topics in mind, 3 or 4 topics that I want to eventually talk on, speak on, But today I am going to talk about accountability and responsibility. And we all should be accountable. It's nothing more than being accountable for our behaviors, for our actions, and being responsible. Because if we are not held accountable, just say for instance, even on jobs, if we're not held accountable on jobs, we will get in trouble with the superior, and we have to be accountable. But I'm talking more about personal accountability, being accountable for our own lives, being responsible, taking responsibility in every way, shape, form, and fashion, taking responsibility for our actions, the things that we do. We will be held accountable. And in some cases, if you are not accountable, you're not responsible, and you do things that you shouldn't do, you will get in trouble. There are consequences for not being accountable. And I think we all know that. Oh, I'm down yonder. Okay. Oh, you getting ready? You have to work today. Cammy's here to listen to your TV. Okay, Cammy. Thank you, Cammy. Hey, the retired gardener. How are you doing? How's everybody doing? This is not going to be a long one. Just talking about accountability. And sometimes we look at things that the children and the youth are doing, and we say, we criticize, they're not doing this, they're not doing that. But sometimes these children and these young people feed off of the adults. If they see us not being accountable, not being responsible, they feed off that energy, and they will be likewise. So we should take in account to train our children, grandchildren, siblings. We may have younger siblings, cousins, family, those that you care about. It behooves us to try and speak these positive things into their lives, like being responsible, being accountable, respecting other people's property, because consequences come when you don't respect others' properties. And I'm just going to use my city for an example. There's been a lot going on. Just, I don't want to get negative, but these are just facts. Just a lot of things that should not be going on, breaking in places, just not being respectful, not being responsible, just doing what you do because this is what you want to do. We cannot live like that. And we have to train our children. We have to train our children to be responsible. Yes, accountability is the mature thing. Yes, and I was thinking about maturity before I came on. That is what accountability is all about, maturity. Thank you, Glenn. Hi, Joshua. Welcome in. Thank you for coming. And we have reflected on those persons that lost their lives while in the armed forces. Um, I'm just, I took a few seconds to reflect on them and the service that they did for our country, and they lost their lives while doing it. And this is the way I think of Memorial Day. I know we do the things like the barbecues and the picnics and the gatherings and meeting with family and friends, which is all good, it's okay. But I like to reflect on them and what they did, and to honor them, and to think about them losing their lives to keep us safe, to keep us free in our country. So it kind of saddens me when I think about it, because many lost their lives in battle. So just wanted to say that. You're hopping in the car, but listen, okay, Glenn. But hi, Frank G. How are you doing? Thank you for coming. Thank you all for being here. Just wanted to throw this out about responsibility and accountability. And I think this in the natural is the reason why we're having a lot of problems in our cities, in our towns, our villages, or whatever, because people are not responsible. They're not mature. And they need to be held accountable because we just can't do what we want, when we want, how we want. There are laws that we are governed by. So let's all of us try and teach and try and talk to the young folks. I don't care if you're related to them or not. If you see a time when you can jump in and speak to them, if you are so led to do so, do it because you may help a person. And I come on here to impart a little of wisdom that I have to inspire, to motivate, and to encourage as many people as I can. And we have to start with our children when they're young, or the children around us. Not just children are children. They may not always be our biological family members, but if we can speak good things and positive things into their lives, it may help a lot of the situations that I'm seeing going on right now. But if you have the older people, the elders, the middle-aged, the grown people, all out of control, not taking accountability, not being responsible, these are the types of children we are breeding. I can remember going to the schools, spending a lot of times at the schools when I had children in school. And I can understand why some children act the way they did, because they feed off the energy of their parents, their guardians, their grandparents, whomever. And they come to the schools yak, yak, yakety, raising hell, yes, raising hell, not being respectable, not trying to find out what the problems are, not listening to what anybody's saying. And the children feed off this energy. And when the parents, the guardians, whomever have left the school, then you have the teachers, the educators, the principals, counselors, and all of those lunchroom workers, bus drivers, all of the support personnel having to deal with your children because they are feeding off of your energy. So, as a society, as a people, we have to stop and think and mature, as Gwen said, mature. Because these children watch us. They watch us. They learn from us. We are our children's first teachers. So we have to be very careful, very, very careful. Welcome in, Gloria Bowman. How are you doing? Thank you for being here. Thank you all. I'm part of the baby boom generation, and we never wanted to embarrass our parents. My mom never had to warn us to stop. We just, yes, exactly right. Same here, retired gardener. We, my dad never whipped me, but my mom was a disciplinarian. All she had to do was look at me, and I was going to line up because I knew I could not act a fool in public and embarrass the family, because that behavior would have been attended to. And it would have been attended to right where I was. Because during that time, people didn't say, well, wait until I get you home. I don't remember, but I always knew not to be foolish in the streets anyway. Welcome in retirement days. Welcome in. Thank you for coming. So we will have it always starts at home. Yes, retired gardener. It starts at home. When Michelle always says the same thing, it starts at home. And yes, I agree wholeheartedly. Absolutely correct. It starts at home. They feed off of the energy that we put out. If we don't train them, it will show. Now, mind you, there are some children you can train them well and they will go out and they will still do things. But you know the Bible says, and I always have to refer to the Bible, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. And I say he may stray a little bit, but he has to come back in. So yes, we got to train up these children the best we know how. And as a parent, y'all, we make mistakes in parenting because parenting does not come with instructions. It does not come with a guidebook. We don't have a guide in parenting. We all have missed it in parenting. We all have made mistakes in parenting. We do the best, most of us try and do the best we can in parenting, but we still miss it. But we do our best because oftentimes you're gonna more than likely parent the way you were parented, you know, and that's just the way it is. So, hi LP, thank you for coming. Thank you, Frank. Thank you all. I appreciate you being here. But I just like to come out and give a little motivation talk, and you know I'm concerned about people. I'm concerned about our well-being and all of this. I'm concerned about our mental state, our physical state. I don't know if I told you guys, I pursued a master's in counseling, but I didn't complete the curriculum. And I guess it's just in me to want to help people, to want to talk to people, to try and steer young people in the right path. Sometimes you can get to other people's children and family more than you can get to your own families. But it's regrettable that I didn't complete the curriculum and get a degree in counseling and really going out into the workplace counseling, because I know that is my calling. That is my calling, to try and motivate. Now, I am this person that I am going to tell you just the way it is. I'm a little bit firm, but I'm going to speak truth to you. I'm not going to tell you something just to make you feel good. Sometimes people say that's hard, that's rough, but you can only be who you are. And I'm firm. You know, I'm telling you, y'all, I don't know. I'm not responsible for the music that you may hear, but these folks are in their yards and they got it going. They're in the pool now. They have cranked up the music, but it's not a part of what I'm doing. I don't want to copyright to any of this that you may hear. Thank you so much. When I try to be a blessing to people, the parents and grandparents are scared of the kids. They say, yes, Frank, yes, they are. Thank you, Gwen. I try to be a blessing to people. I try to speak the right things in people's lives. I'm not perfect. I never have been. I never will be. But I do my best to try and help as many as I can. And I know I missed my calling by not completing the degree in counseling, because counseling advising, inspiring. That is who I am. But that's okay. I still had an opportunity on my job to minister to many young people who came to work in my department. These young college students and high school students, mainly college students, would gravitate to me. And people around me could not understand why they would always be at my desk. You know, people got curious. They wanted to know what they were talking to me about, what's going on. But I know as a counselor, you have to have confidentiality. And these young people would come to me, talk about personal problems. I had one young woman, she was not a college student, but she was young enough to be my daughter. She was having marital problems at home. You know, she was expecting another baby. When she lost that baby, she came to me, she talked to me, and she said she just felt she could talk to me, and she did. So our supervisor asked me some personal questions about this young woman. And I told him, you will need to ask her. Point blank. You will need to ask her. Because I was not going to tell him what she had shared in confidentiality with me, because she asked me not to say anything about it. So why would I tell him? So people just couldn't understand, why these young people would come to me, but they knew they could have enough confidence in me to talk to me, and they never heard it in the department. Nobody never could go back and tell them what was said, what they told me. Even a couple of personal friends that I had in the department, we had known each other before we went to work there, couldn't even say that I had told them anything, because it's just not something that I did. Some of these kids are dealing with crazy grandparents, crazy parent, mental illness. Yes, retired Garners, a lot of mental illness out here, and it's just a lot of things going on. Like some things people have just not been taught. They just don't know what to tell their children, what to say, because they themselves have not been taught. And it kind of bothered me when the pandemic came, and I'm going to speak about where I live, and children had to stay at home and go to school online. Well, I work with, hey, Crafty Leo, honey, how are you doing? I work with a lady who has a a non-profit organization. And oftentimes I help her with different things, donations, feeding, whatever. And we had a talk. And our concern was a lot of the parents could not teach the children at home. Even though they may have been online, a lot of parents just didn't have the know-how to be able to instruct children. So that was a problem. Thank you, Crafty Leo, for being a member, Patty Cake Crew, for 16 months. Woo woo, shout out to you and thank you for your support. So that, was somewhat of a problem. Many parents could instruct their children from home online, but many parents were not capable of doing it because some of these parents were very young parents themselves, so they didn't know how to teach the children. So that was an issue. Okay, retired Garda said, my daughter told me some of her friends are in unstable homes and she realized how can she. Yes, my daughters have told me the same things. Children, I remember my oldest daughter shared with me, twirling into work. Blessed day, y'all. Have a great day at work. Gwen, thank you for coming in. I appreciate you, and I will see you on the next time around. But One of my daughters told me this. She shared this with me. She said, Mama, she said, I am so thankful that I didn't have to deal with what some of my friends have had to deal with at home. She said, some of my friends have shared that they have been molested, they have been touched by other friends' children in the back rooms and stuff like this. She said, but I honestly told her that that never happened with me. You see, we have to be thoughtful. We have to think. You can't just put these children in a room and tell them to go and play, and you don't know what's going on. You see, being responsible. Being responsible. Because, you know, everything is going on in their bodies and stuff, and they have no control. So we as the adults have to be in control of things. So, yes, I just wanted to pop in and just talk a little bit about accountability and responsibility, and we all can be responsible. We all can take accountability. We should take accountability for our actions, for our behaviors, and when we don't, there are consequences. It depends on where you're having to take accountability. It could be your workplace. It could be you, a child out here as a juvenile. It could be us taking responsibilities for ourselves, our families, being held accountable for not raising our children in the right way or disciplining our children. And, you know, it's just a whole host of things, but I'm just throwing out a little something to give you to think about being responsible, especially when we're raising our children, when we're babysitting our grandchildren, our nieces, nephews, and even children in the family, extended family, even just friends' children or acquaintances or whatever. Let's be mindful of these things. And I know we all know about responsibility, we all know about accountability. But sometimes we need to talk. We need to have conversations about things. Social media is the baby. So you're right, Frank. Social media and the television. And that is not good. Too much television distorts learning, as well as just the screen in general. We cannot afford to let the screens babysit and raise our children. Yes. So I thank you all for coming here. It was just a thought I had that I wanted to come. I'm going to be talking about another topic maybe next week, but I have several topics that I want to hit on just to share a little bit of wisdom that I have. And that's what I'm going to do, just impart wisdom, because a lot of you here are young enough to be my children. So, you know, and I see you all as young people. Young enough to be my children. You're young people. And if I can tell you something or speak something or a word of wisdom into your lives, that is what I want to do. So thank you all for coming. I know many of you may have guests at your home. You may have family and whatever. And let's just keep in mind and reflect on those persons who died serving our country in the armed forces. Yes, speak life. Yes, retired Gardner, speak life, because there is power in words. We have what we speak. So we don't want to speak death. We want to speak life. You're absolutely correct. And we never know when we have spoken something that will resonate with someone else. So be careful of our words. Be careful of how we handle people, what we say to people. And if we make a mistake and say the wrong thing, hey, y'all know what we do. We repent. We say, I'm sorry. And we keep it pushing because we make mistakes. We're not without error. We make mistakes because we realize that none is perfect except God Himself. Those of us who believe in the Almighty God. So, yes. Thank you all. Those who lost their lives fighting for us all. Yes. Yes. And we're sorry for the families that lost loved ones in the armed forces. Hey Tim, welcome in. How are you doing? Thank you for coming. Thank you all for being here. And I'm just gonna say this. Let our lights shine among others, that they may see our good works and glorify our Father who is in heaven. So you all have a great and wonderful day. Thank you all for coming. I hope I have spoken to each and every one of you. And for all of you who came in this live today, I'm going to keep it up on my iPad so that I can drop your links on my community page. Y'all watch your community pages because we put information out there sometimes, and I'm bad about it. I don't always get the notifications for the community pages. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I just go to the community pages. But let's keep an eye out for that, and also keep an eye out for the mentions. When people are mentioning and shouting out our channels, we want to acknowledge that people know we appreciate it. Or if we don't do anything to put a heart, but I like to say thank you when I run across mentions and shout outs. Thank you all for what you do for my channel. I appreciate you all. I don't take any of your support lightly. I appreciate each and every one of you because, hey, we couldn't do it without you. We could not do it without you. And I tell you all the time, you're most grateful. And let me say, if this is your first or second time here, you are welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are a regular, you already know you're welcome. So thank you guys for coming. Be safe out there. And I will see you on the next video. Now I gotta try and get this turned off.